Like, my opener was completely different from what I like to do with an opener. So,
levels of iron found.
that's almost usable, but this is a fairly open map, so I'm going to keep poking around.
Medium levels of carbon found.
High levels of water found. Low levels of aluminum found. High
Scientific colony founded.
Alright, that's fine. We'll just keep looking around.
Expansive colony founded. Medium levels of aluminum found.
Still not seeing anything.
High
I mean,
levels of iron
there's like
expansive colony
usable
founded.
stuff, but there's not good stuff generally, and I'm kind of trying to hold out for a good spot. Since everybody else has been found in fairly quickly, I'm hoping there's a good spot somewhere on the map we can take advantage of. Like last game, if we had just checked around a little while longer, we could have landed in the midst of all that aluminum and really made it work. This game, it's not really panning out quite so well. Partially because, yeah, the map's nice and open, but half of it is almost pure silicon, which makes for a bit of an awkward situation. I'm feeling robotic this game. Let's go with it.
Site P4275 scanned and acquired.
We're super late, so we can't just do our usual play, so we're just going to do something
High levels
a
of
little
carbon
odd,
found.
I think, this time. We'll grab 2 aluminum instead of 2 iron, which is weird for us. And then just buy into steel as best as we can. It's not good, but
Scientific colony expanded.
actually, I want to have this be a metal mine. It's 1.5. I probably should have just could have thrown down a lone steel mill and honestly been a bit better off. Oh, and this guy actually just deleted a bunch of carbon. That hurts. That hurts. I was kind of hoping for that carbon. This might not be a good game, guys.
2,000. 4,000. 5.
I mean, we can drive this up quickly. We can wait for everybody else to drive it up. Right now, I'm just kind of letting them mess around with it because I've lost track of my coffee. Oh, there it is.
16,000.
Aha. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that qubit. That's been happening sometimes where when I go from the menu to the main section of the game, things get, like, the music keeps going for some reason. And it doesn't switch to the in-game music or anything like that. It's very odd. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and not buy this claim because I can't afford to, because I kind of need to push for an upgrade. That's how the early game works, guys. Like, you get black market access for this quick claim, but it's almost never viable if you found it particularly late because you're already so far behind. Like, look, steel keeps going up in price right now. I still need 5 more of it. And I don't really have a choice in the matter. I have to get this extra 3 steel still. There we go. Steel came down a little bit. We could try and not make steel this game, but as a robotic player, I don't know what else we make besides steel, if I'm honest. This guy's already got a ton of water. Maybe we can just make farms, drive that glass price up, and then just ignore it. It's very tempting. Let's see. This guy's got reactors down as a scientific player. We can almost upgrade. Almost. See, the thing is, I don't think we can really make the push to farms.
Full hardware upgrade complete.
Because
colony
we just don't have, like, we kind of need to move into steel or be super, super patient and wait for these guys to bring the price down. But they don't have, we're just doing it. We'll figure it out later. Try and make all this work. The aluminum's not great. The steel's okay. Oh, no wonder the aluminum's not great. Look at this guy. Wow. This is just nuts. Niven's going to have to be slowed down. He got founded fast enough that he can get away with making this play and actually making it work, because note that he hit level 3 about the time we hit level 2. I never even saw this going on right over here. Wow. I never saw this whole plot, this whole section of the map. He must have already had taken it by that point, and then I just glazed over it because I was like, that's just too far over my head. We can grab a claim now. Maybe get a little extra iron. Maybe not. Maybe just secure a geotherm tile. But steel's kind of expensive currently, and it's where we're making our money. So I'm tempted to grab up this little one of these silicon tiles. Silicon's plentiful, but it's still usually valuable fairly early in the game as people try and get down solar panels. So I'm going to try and work with that. See if we can get our own solar panels down.
Fitting will begin at 1,000, 5,000, 7,000, 9,000.
Alright, I got 60 glass. I could push for 80. I want 60 glass because I'm thinking I want to make a farm transition at some point.
14.
So we're going to sit on the 60 glass, see if we can make that work.
1,000.
You going to drive it up to 20?
18.
You are going to drive it up to 20. I'll let him have it for 20 again. Who got the last one? I don't even remember who got the last one. I wish I could scroll this up or have it as like a log that I could check and see. Because I forget things fairly frequently and I lose track of things fairly easily. And that would be kind of nice to be able to do sometimes. Now, I am just trying to hit an upgrade as fast as I can right now off the back of this steel and aluminum while not selling any glass and probably not selling any silicon. So I can try and upgrade and then move into food and power simultaneously. That's going to be the goal. As you can see, I've already got all this glass saved up so I can get down 3 farms fairly easily. And the steel is coming in slowly but surely. This aluminum, like, I did not realize this guy had 3 aluminum tiles like this. This is just dumping so much aluminum into the market, it's completely destroying the value of our aluminum. And it's definitely not good for us
Beginning
at all.
construction.
Okay.
Reticulating splines.
Yes, Asimov, I agree. You are absolutely correct. He must be kept down. There's no real way around it. Okay. We still need silicon in order to get to these solar farms we want, which we do kind of still want to put down. But maybe we'll only go 2 solar farms, like one with our extra claim and maybe replace our iron tile or something with a solar farm. Maybe we can just get rid of... No, aluminum's rebounded
Scientific
for the
colony
time being.
expanded.
Maybe I just don't even go into power at all. Maybe I just let it sit for now. Got to make sure we're selling stuff off to keep our farms active. Let's go ahead. I could grab a claim or a goon. Both of them definitely have their upsides. Oh, power surplusing. Okay. That's actually quite fortunate for us, given the decisions that we've made this game. Steel's still alright. I'm really hoping that people kind of focus on Niven and just ignore me in my little corner right now. That's kind of the play we're making. Alright, I wanted another farm if I can pull it off. Just because food is doing so well.
Expanded.
And let's see. We can move into more steel, or we can move into glass quite heavily. I'm not seeing a lot of people in glass. Wells is in farms too. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of glass. I'm very tempted to just kind of scrap my steel and move into glass fairly effectively on the back of all this silicon I've got. I could also just throw down extra silicon. Silicon's doing quite nicely. When it tanks out, I can kind of plan on a glass transition. See if I can make that work. Yeah, Wells really wanted that food money too. He's doing pretty well. Niven is already HQ level 5, by the way. I just want to point that out. That's how ridiculous this game is right now. Nope. No, thank you to any of that. Let's upgrade.
Upgrade complete.
Go ahead and throw down one more iron mine.
Colony expanded.
Especially because this guy just upgraded as well. That drove up the price of steel quite nicely. And let's move into this glass production I was talking about. And grab a new claim. Yeah. All that. Then let's see. Sell more food. Engineering lab, please. Okay. Silicon's doing nicely. That's all good. The steel's doing nicely as well. Could use a goon squad. I keep talking about getting a goon squad, and then I just kind of rely on people hitting other people for the time being in this big a game and hope that it pans out. The farms are falling off fairly quickly. Shouldn't be any surprise with how heavily Wells committed into them. Everybody else is also making these transitions, but you know, we got them while the getting was good. So I definitely don't regret any of the decisions we made with that. We just have to figure out what to move them into now that they're becoming significantly less valuable. This guy's got glass as well, and it's significantly better than ours, which is kind of important. Let's go ahead and upgrade our... Let's actually stick to this upgrading chem production thing. Niven has been working with an engineering lab for quite some time as well. Go ahead and freeze that. Thankfully, we can see silicon has gotten quite high. So we're still pulling in a nice silicon surplus and making glass, both of which are making us a significant amount of money. And we can go ahead and upgrade if we want. Maybe finally get into some actual power, because, man, I haven't bothered with that all game. But what else do we want to do with an upgrade? Like, we could take some carbon. There's a high carbon tile here that's worthwhile. We could take maybe a little water, make that work. Niven's halfway to being able to buy us, go figure. He is making a stupid amount of money, and we are massively in debt, so that shouldn't be any real big surprise at all. Let's see, we're on 110,000 though. Like, we're making a good amount of money. I don't even know if I want to upgrade. Like, do I want to commit that money? Probably not. I probably just want to make this happen if I can. Let's sell out here. Go ahead and move into these reactors, which should be okay. Ah, that's going to drive up his price significantly. I need to make this happen. I should have started this a long time ago. I should have scared him so he didn't finish off Omar. Now his stock price is going to be pretty darn expensive compared to what I wanted it to be. And this is going to be quite difficult to pull off. Alright, let's freeze our glass. Our glass is not where it's at right now. And just commit even more into this super ridiculously good steel market. Yellow has also bought up a significant amount of Niven, which is very unfortunate for us. It means we need to basically just start buying ourselves until we can, just to secure ourselves long enough that we can maybe go ahead and make that push for Niven. Tell you what, if we're going to upgrade chems this much and we already have reactors down, why don't we just make money off of it? Alright, so I am going to need to push for another upgrade. Unfortunately, steel is still ridiculous. I can scrap this, move into more steel. I didn't expect steel to stay this way this long. What'd you guys do to steel this game? Like, nobody's even out of it too bad. It's just everybody is pushing so hard on it by expanding so quickly that it doesn't really matter. Maybe I should put down power. Just a thought. There's a dust storm going on right now. I would need to get to an upgrade. I did get these pirates. I'm not sure what to do with them. I'm sure there's a scientific player somewhere on the map. There we go.
Pirates.
Take that.
I hate those filthy bandits.
Okay. The chem labs should be doing work. The electrolysis is doing work. Doing even more work than I expected it to, quite frankly, because steel went up. Or, sorry, fuel went up quite a lot. We can upgrade
New directives received
and then throw down,
confirmed.
like, more steel. We can move that around later if we absolutely have to. We did not get the carbon that we wanted. Unfortunately, we are significantly cheaper than the yellow player, which is definitely a bit of an issue.
Your stock is being bought.
Let's go ahead and get into these. Like, I was really hoping to make this buy, and then Wells got in our way, and now he needs to kind of save us in order to keep Niven from just running away with it.
Stock is being bought.
Yep, there that is. Let's see. We're probably just plain dead. We were too late to the push on Niven. And Niven was off to such an incredible tearing start because he found all this aluminum and then he was able to just throw down a bunch of steel. And really, that's all you have to do sometimes to just plain win a game. On top of that, we didn't throw down power, so we went up massively in debt trying to push for a buy. And if you don't get a buy when you do that, you're basically out of the game. That's what it comes down to. We're paying off debt nicely. These chems were completely destroyed. Not worth anything at all. Let's make some food. This guy's already in food. We need to keep attacking him as best as we can. We will go ahead and hit. Nope. Wow. He was nowhere close to that a moment ago, and then he just jumped to it. All right. Well, we're dead. Niven's going to probably run away with the whole game. If Wells hadn't made the buy on Niven at the same time that we did, we probably would have just flat out won it. But what it came down to was Niven got off to such a strong lead that it came down to, does Niven get the buys and get into his own stock, or does Niven just die? Because whoever gets Niven wins the game. But if nobody gets Niven, Niven wins the game. And that's how the whole game should go forward from here. Niven should be able to swallow up Wells and then just finish the whole game out. And it shouldn't be too difficult for him. Man, this was ridiculous, though. This ridiculous start. And then what happened was he actually managed to make money off of steel very, very quickly because he committed into it so hard. That let him buy up a ridiculous amount of glass and just go. Also, side note, this kind of also contributes to why 6-man games and 8-man games are actually garbage. And 4-mans and 1v1s are where it's at, guys. Just so you know. It's a little bit less, it's a little bit more predictable. It's a little bit more predictable in a 1v1 and a 4-player free-for-all. Wells, interestingly enough, is buying into everyone else, which I think is an awful decision because all Niven needs to do from this point forward to lock up the game, right, is grab up Wells right here. Now, I totally missed Niven actually flying up to 100% on me, but oh well. All right, Niven. Can you make it happen, or is Wells going to beat you? You're doing a lot of transitioning right now, which you really don't need to be doing. You need to turn off these electrolysis reactors. These are killing him. He needs to clean up my territory significantly. Because my territory was all about the push to finish off Niven, and then it didn't work. So it was going to be garbage afterward, right? He needs to turn all these off. I don't want to think of... Okay, there we go. They're gone. That's fantastic. He still has this steel production, which is reasonably strong for him, right? Plus 200, plus 100. That's pretty darn good
Scientific colony
income.
expanded.
Over here, Niven still has these reactors down, which are doing almost nothing because of the cost of power, but he probably wants to leave them anyway because they're scientific, and he doesn't want to play around with them too much. Kind of the same thing with these steel mills here. Now, Niven also hasn't upgraded this scientific player all the way yet. He has more access to claims there. He really needs to get Wells stock purchased, though. That should be his focus right now, is acquiring as much of Wells as he possibly can before Wells acquires the entirety of himself. Because the way Wells still wins this game is by buying up all of his own stock and then pushing his stock price this ridiculously high. Then he can even sell out of like Herbert stock or Asimov stock and try and make a push onto purchasing Niven, which, while expensive, is still certainly an option, right? It's something he can definitely do. Now, we've got a lot of glass furnaces up for Wells. I don't really like that decision. Those could have been electronics factories. We see electronics factories here. That's good. Another big thing right now, Wells has a patent lab running. He already has carbon scrubbing secured, so that's fantastic for him for his electronics production. In addition to that, let's go ahead and check where technology is, in fact. Wells over here, he has no technology yet. He was very late to the engineering lab. That's going to cause him serious problems because Niven got to the engineering lab. He's got +2 chemical production, +2 steel production, and +1 electronics production. If he can push something like that steel to +3, that's going to be a big play for him. But right now, he's just letting it sit. This is a big mistake. These guys need to pump out advances with these labs, these engineering labs. They need to do things for them. Let's see. His chems are working very, very nicely for him. But there is a huge step from 2 to 3 and from 3 to 4 when it comes down to this. Look at how much money these chems are making now. This is ridiculous. But it could be even higher is the thing. He could push that significantly higher. Now, these electronics factories, only +100. Despite the fact that electronics are this high, and carbon is here. So we've got like +177 in the middle, +102 here. You really need to be pushing those with this engineering lab, in order to make it work. And we can see Wells, he keeps making transitions. He's trying to get to Offworlds. I'm afraid Niven is kind of over the hump when it comes down to it. Even though he hasn't bought this stock yet, he still knows Wells is his only actual opponent. At least he should know that, right? Wells has half stock in Herbert, half stock in Asimov. So if Niven acquires Wells and just finishes him off, he's halfway to buying Asimov, he's halfway to buying Herbert, and the whole game basically falls into his lap. And then it's just good, and he's ready to go. But Niven has to identify that fact. And I'm not encouraged by the fact that he hasn't purchased Wells yet. Let's see, electronics factories. Yep, off-world market right there. Hydroponic farms coming down. Those should make a fair amount of money. This lab is chugging away now. Don't know what's going on in it. This one's still chugging away. I could take a glance at Herbert and Asimov. I don't see them as particularly important to this game, but they are still getting something done. Big mistake out of Niven, in my opinion. That just handed Wells a huge chunk of cash. Hopefully it won't be enough to kill him. But Niven, he got off to a strong start, but his late game definitely concerns me. Wells needs probably about right now 500,000 to finish off Niven. If he can just manage to start making money instead of losing it, which is the primary thing he's been managing to do so far, Marsquake, this is a big deal. No idea who's going to be making the most off of this. Okay, it looks like Herbert. Herbert is going to be getting the strength of the Marsquake. What happens is Herbert has all of his money in resources right now. All resources are currently going up, period. All resources are going up right now. So Herbert, what's going to happen is his money in resources, you can see it's just flying up. Look at how fast that's increasing by like 10,000 a second during that marsquake. Whereas these guys, they didn't get that 10,000 a second boost to their cash because it was all in cash. It wasn't in resources. I don't know if it matters at the end of the day because Herbert is just so far behind. But man, that was a big deal, potentially, for an advantage that Wells or Niven could have taken, and they just didn't. All right, silicon shortage. That should play into Niven's favor quite heavily. He has a significant amount of silicon secured, and most players don't this game, mostly because he acquired me. So that's going to be a pretty nice boost for him. He also is losing massive amounts of money on this steel right now because steel, like iron's up at 326. So that's a huge problem for him. Whereas Wells, he doesn't have any iron collection, but he also doesn't have any steel production. So he's not getting any benefit off this iron, but at least he wasn't burning cash like crazy. Okay, there we go. Well, Niven has spotted the difficulty. He already has a massive amount of iron production down, so that's going to be fantastic for him. And now at least he's not burning it all in those steel mills. Still a very close game in a lot of ways. Wells could still push to finish this, and I imagine he will, as long as he can just keep up like he's been keeping on so far. I don't know why these electronics factories are turned off. That's a bit of a mistake, I think, especially considering he has carbon scrubbing. He didn't have to do that in order to stay in this game. Let's see. Wells. Come on, Wells. You can make the push. I want Wells to make the push here. But Herbert, on the other hand, with this marsquake, Herbert's just coming from behind. Nope. Wells made the buy on Herbert. That should wrap up the game for Niven quite nicely. These two players both kind of failing to identify their primary opponent. But let's see who can actually play out the late game. Neither of them realized they had to buy each other. Neither of them noticed it. Good effort from Herbert, though. I think both of them got scared of Herbert is what happened, because Herbert did just such a fantastic job of making money in the late game. Let's go ahead and check where Herbert's technology was at, just because that was a lot of cash. That was MMOGOG. Okay, yeah, a lot in power. Let's see where Herbert made their money. Not really in power. Most of their money came from, well, just a variety of places, really. The marsquake certainly didn't hurt, but I think it was iron at the end of the day that really pushed it so nuts. When iron went quite so crazy, looks like that's what really kicked Herbert into it toward the end, but not enough to actually finish it out. Niven should have the game locked up with 6 Offworlds on the line and 4 headquarters. Wells only on 2 headquarters. Not going to pull it off. But yeah, I think what happened there, by the way, was Herbert just ended up in a position where they could have killed almost either of the players. And so it more turned into it managed to turn into a who shoots first scenario, which is unfortunately fairly common in the 6-man game. Let's see. Niven's going to need, let's go ahead and check. He needs 80% of that. So what? Niven's going to need between 900,000 and $1 million to finish this off. We can see he's very, very close to it. Wells, on the other hand, is he going to pull this off? I will be impressed if Wells pulls this off. I will be honest. It means that Niven's probably made some pretty serious mistakes going forward. I don't even know what's valuable off-world. Oh, Niven. You made some serious mistakes this game. So what's happened is, first of all, Niven's in a ridiculous amount of electronics, and they aren't making him any money at all, right? No money at all on all these tiles, These off-worlds also making basically no money at all, because we can see the off-world prices on a lot of these items is actually under the on-world price. There's no money to use these off-worlds. So what happened was, Niven just went for a very basic, hey, I love off-worlds play. And Wells comes from behind, like, yeah, I know you do, but I have the money play. And Wells goes ahead and takes it. Don't build off-worlds like that when the game is like that, guys. Look, Niven had the game. Niven had the game and threw it completely. Niven had that whole game wrapped up quite easily. His start was strong. He got a great territory. He was able to just plop down steel mills, buy a ton of glass, while aluminum and steel were still high, and just rocket on up to HQ level 5. But he just completely fell apart at the end by pushing to these off-worlds. Let's see how much money we made off these off-worlds. 393,000 was all that was made off of those 6 off-world markets. That probably doesn't even come close to covering the cost of them when they went up. If that money had just been put in stock, if that money had just been put in anything else that wasn't Offworlds, we probably would have seen Niven come out on top. In addition to that, I can see that Niven didn't put down a whole lot of power either for most of the game. And so his debt was probably extremely high, and if he had managed to pay that off, then he would have also managed to stay in the game quite effectively. I like the comment from Cubit. No Cubit around to mess